Okay, for defending her.
For defending her,
Why
yes.
aren't you suing for that amount? You're suing for, or your husband is suing for,
We're suing for both.
you're suing for $1,500.
Right now, yes. We have another case coming up on December 1st.
Oh, jeez. Do I have that case?
No,
Is it in this court?
not in this court, not here.
It's
I think it's in
mediation.
mediation first.
Oh, all right. So that $4,200, that check for $4,250 has nothing to do with this hearing today.
No,
All right.
no.
Now, I'm assuming the $17.59 that you're suing for is interest.
Right, because we did back on March 10th, just tried to set up payment agreements with them. We talked to an attorney just to see if we can motivate them to get us to pay something, $25 a month, something. And he was paying, and we applied some of it towards the $4,250. Here's a copy of the checks that he was paying, but we applied it towards $4,250 because it was such a bigger amount to pay that down.
What's the interest rate?
2%,
How'd you come up with that?
because that's what we were earning on our demand note account, GMAC demand note account.
Did your brother agree to that? Did he?
We have no idea.
Did you ever ask him?
He won't talk to us.
Well, but at the time you gave the check to your sister-in-law for $1,500, did you say
No.
anything then about
No.
an interest rate?
No.
Did you say anything about
We
how...
wrote a
Just
letter.
listen to me, ma'am. Just
Okay.
listen to me.
Okay.
Did you say anything to her about repayment?
Repayment?
Yeah, how this was going to be repaid. Did you say, I'm going to give you a check for $1,500 and I expect you to repay it so much per month, or something like that? And anything along those lines?
Nope.
You just gave her a check for $1,500.
No, I just didn't give it to her. I said you need to pay me back.
Okay, and what were the terms of the repayment? Did you talk about that?
Well, no, I mean, my God, she's going to jail, gonna be going to jail. Like,
That's
you don't
important.
sit there and say, you're gonna pay me back $100 a month and I'm gonna give you 2% interest when somebody's gonna be going to jail.
Well, that's important to know now. For this case now, that's important.
Well, I know that, but when somebody who you love is gonna be going to jail, I mean.
Did she go to jail?
Yes,
She was convicted
yes,
of embezzlement?
yes.
What was her sentence?
Just 2 years.
2 years in prison?
Yeah.
When did she get
She don't get out till
convicted?
July of 2011.
Her maximum sentence is up to 20.
And she got to 2 years. When was her sentencing date?
July.
Yeah, July of '09.
Okay.
That's if she gets paroled. That's the least amount.
So she's in prison now.
Yes. So, I mean, that's not something you sit and go, okay, if I give you this money right now, I'm gonna want it back in 2 years, you know what I mean? When you sit there and you got the police, you're just worried about getting your, and at the time, you don't know if she's guilty or not. All you know is that it's my brother, and I'm worried about him, and he loves her, and
Okay, so the plaintiff wants the $1,500 that she or he gave to her brother or sister-in-law for her criminal activity. Seems to me, though, that the defendant brother maybe shouldn't be responsible for the acts of his criminal wife. This is getting confusing, but let's see what the defense says.
Okay, well, Mr. Evans, your turn.
I don't know what to say.
I don't either. I mean, do you owe the money? I mean, it sounds like there was a loan made.
They gave it to my wife. Nobody told me nothing about money being loaned. I found out after she was arrested, when everybody met at their house to bond her out. That's when I found out about money that was loaned to her.
Why are you suing him instead of your sister? Didn't you give the money to your sister?
She's in prison, that's why.
I know that, but why shouldn't she be the one that should be sued?
well, because afterwards he said he'd make sure that I get my money back.
Mr. Evans said
Yes,
that, your
he did.
brother-in-law?
He told me that.
When did he say
He
that?
told me that multiple times.
When did he say that?
After she got, after we were still talking, when was it? Because he stopped talking to me because he told me, because he got upset because he believes that I told the Macomb Daily about her and her
No,
and...
I stopped talking to him when she sent me an email saying if I stayed married to her,
Yes.
that she would have nothing to do with me anymore.
Yes, because...
Just be quiet, man. Let
Yes.
your brother talk.
I'm sorry.
I said,
Go ahead.
that's when I stopped. I said, fine, if I'm gonna stay married to her, she don't want nothing to do with me. I'm raising her 2 kids.
Her 2 kids?
No, my wife's 2 kids.
Well, yes.
And
From a
she's-
previous marriage?
Yeah, she was married before, she had 2
Okay.
kids. She said I can stay in contact with the kids, but if I choose to stay with her, that she doesn't wanna have no contact with me,
So you had to pick between your wife or your sister, you picked your wife, essentially.
basically. I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna be in 2011. I don't know if I'm gonna be with her. And I don't,
You mean your wife?
yeah, it's,
You might get divorced?
I don't know. I mean, she might not even get out in 2011. If she doesn't get out in 2011, I just can't wait around forever. You know, and I can't continue paying. I mean, to me, if everybody loaned her, or they loaned her the money, and this other money involved,
I thought you married her for better or for worse. You got a little bit of the worse here now.
yeah, I got the worst, but I mean, if I'm going on 2 years right now, you know,
Yeah, 2 years without her,
yeah,
maybe longer.
maybe longer.
If he divorces her, are you gonna talk to him?
He's my brother.
Well, it doesn't seem to matter right now.
Well, no, it's just that there's a lot of bad blood there between me and Laura, and
Really?
he said a lot of mean things, and I just can't have the going back and forth. I mean, the kids are a different story. I love the kids. I mean, but
I mean, I just feel if they loaned her the money, then she should be responsible for it. And I understand.
Good point. That's a very good point.
And I understand it's going to be, maybe she gets out in 2011. I mean, at the time I was unemployment. I got a high truck payment and stuff like that. I still paid them. I was paying them. And then they send me letters all the time. I get 2 checks a month. I can't give them a day on when I'm going to pay them. It's different now. I'm working, but at that time I wasn't working. You know, I was living on $1,250 a month.
I think the defendant makes a good point here. He shouldn't be responsible for the criminal acts of his criminal wife. But let's see what the judge says.
There are a number of problems with this case, Mr. Cebulski and Mrs. Cebulski, since you're not technically the plaintiff, but you're acting like one. One problem with the case is the fact that your husband is suing instead of you. Okay, it looks to me like you made the loan instead of your husband. You're the one that signed the check. You're the one that did all the work. His name may have been on the account, but if there was it looks like if there was any sort of agreement, it was made between you and your sister-in-law, not your husband. So we have one problem here. It could be the wrong person who sued. It probably should have been you. The fact that he's joint an account, I don't think is really enough to get him to be the plaintiff. But there are other problems besides that. That just scratches the surface. The other problem, and one of 2 real big problems with this case, is that I don't think this is enforceable. There was no agreement between the parties at the time that this money was given that it was a loan. When you have a loan, it's usually got to be written, or at least there has to be an agreement as to how much money was loaned, and we're not even clear on that because you thought it may have been $750
no,
instead of
$750.
Okay, then he should be suing for $750 instead of $1,500 plus interest, which is another problem.
But the whole $1,500 went towards her defense.
Well, fine, but what I'm getting at here is that there was no agreement between you and your sister-in-law as to whether this was a loan or what the repayment terms were going to be. We can't even agree on how much was loaned. We don't know what the repayment terms were going to be. We don't know how much she was going to pay. We don't know when it was going to be paid. We don't know the interest rate. And there's nothing in writing. If you're going to make a loan like that, you need to specify all of that stuff. Now, I understand why you did it. You thought she was going to go to jail, and you didn't want her to go to jail. You wanted to help out your brother, and it was a crisis situation. So in a crisis situation, people do what you did. That may be admirable, but from a legal standpoint, which is what I care about, it's not that smart.
Even if you prove that he's been paying on the loan?
That doesn't prove that what the terms of the loan were, okay? And we don't know which loan it was, whether it was this one or the one for $4,250. All we know is that Mr. Evans made a payment, or a couple of payments. I'm not sure exactly what you have there.
Well, we have almost $1,800 being paid.
$1,800 you paid?
Yes.
For what?
Because they said they loaned her the money.
So why are you paying it?
Because it's my sister.
I don't think there's any obligation that you have to make that payment, okay? Which goes to the second of the two major problems of this case. And that is this loan was made, if at all, to your sister, not to him. Not to your brother, to your sister-in-law, not to your brother. He doesn't have any obligation to pay that. If he wants to pay that because you're his sister and he somehow feels bad, I guess he can do that, and you can certainly take the money. But from a legal standpoint, if there was a loan made, it wasn't made to him. So you probably have the wrong person that is suing in this case. I don't think legally you have an enforceable agreement that's made between you and your sister-in-law. And if you do, she's the one that has to pay it, not him. So those are three reasons right there where this case just has to be dismissed.
Even though he says that he's going to pay it back?
Yes, even though he says he's going to pay that back. You can say anything you want to, but just because you say something doesn't mean you have a contract or doesn't mean you have something that's legally enforceable.
Can I ask a question? So it's
Sure.
okay to go ahead and tell people that you're going to give them money and they're going to pay you back, and if you don't write it out just at that moment?
No, I'm not saying it's okay to do that morally. I'm enforcing the law, okay? And legally, you can't sue Mr. Evans for
So
this
I
check.
can sue his wife.
You can. I don't know whether you'd win or not. That's a different case.
So if I go and I sue his wife even though she's in jail and she doesn't show up here, then I legally win?
Well, I'm not going to give you legal advice, ma'am, okay?
Okay.
But I'm saying that you can sue her if you want to, and it's a different case.
Okay.
This case is dismissed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we've got the wrong plaintiff, the wrong defendant, and nothing's in writing. This is just a legal disaster. Get everything in writing, signed by everybody, and those two people that sign are the people that can sue each other. It's simple, but not in this case. However, if you find that you're involved in a dispute that you can't resolve, small claims court may be the answer. Thanks for watching Case Closed. I'm Charlie Langton.